With more than 20 years, one of the foundational stories of Jay-Z's career, the very story that helped turn him from a rapper into a mogul with untouchable street credibility, was a violent night in 1999.
The top rap star is busted.
Jay-Z turned himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
This was supposedly the moment Sean Carter, the artist, became Jay-Z, the gangster in the public eye. He was accused of stabbing record executive Lance Rivera in a move that stunned the music world. He pleaded guilty. That plea became a cornerstone of his persona.
You had an incident with Rivera, you know, where you pled guilty to charges of, I don't remember exactly the charges, assault with a deadly weapon. Is it?
They would have never let me be
okay.
out here with you if that was the case.
You stabbed him. Okay, all right. Do you feel like that was a mistake? In hindsight,
I believe that was the greatest thing ever. This is gonna sound crazy, but I believe that helped me. You know what I'm saying? Because that put the brakes on everything. That let me know that no matter how successful you are and how much you on your road, it can all stop. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still a kid from Marcy Projects, and you know, not everybody they waiting for you to mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just go ahead. You know what I'm saying? We let you just go ahead and self-destruct yourself.
This story of aggression and betrayal defined his image for years. But what if the foundation of that entire story was a lie? What if the guilty plea that cemented Jay-Z's reputation as a street-savvy hustler was for a crime he never actually committed? Because today, the victim of that stabbing is telling a completely different story.
I mean, I said it one time, you know, that I didn't get stabbed by Jay, right? So we're gonna start there, and like I said, if you weren't in the room, you see what I'm saying? Cause I could say that me and Jay got into it over Cam. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I'll just give you one scenario. One day, I think Dame might have touched on it. One day, Dame comes to the studio, the Hit Factory, and Cam and them, Mason, all of them are in the studio, and they play the interlude record called F You. And they like, it's called F You, and they doing it to Dame. Right? So Dame leaves out and he comes back and he has Jay-Z, Big, and Tata. It was a bunch of things that escalated. You know what I'm saying? It was a bunch of things that escalated. One being bootlegging. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the things being bootlegging. One of the things being women. One of the things being money, one of the things being, who's, and one of the things being, I need this because I'm trying to sell records.
He now claims Jay-Z didn't do it, and the real account of that night doesn't just change the details, it calls into question everything we thought we knew about how Sean Carter built the myth of Jay-Z. To really get the weight of that night, you have to go back to the end of 1999. The world was on the verge of a new millennium, and Jay-Z was on the verge of a new level of fame. He wasn't just a rapper, he was arguably the rapper. After the deaths of Tupac and Biggie, there was a power vacuum in hip-hop, and Jay-Z, with his slick wordplay, dope metaphors, and hustler's ambition, was stepping up to fill it.
I wasn't writing with the intentions of having a record deal or anything like that. It was just something that I like to do. It was more of a hobby. So it was, and I wasn't really trying to get a record deal. So I would run the streets after that, then I just stopped writing. So then I would still get all these ideas. I have all these ideas, and I still make songs, but now I'm making these songs in my head. But so it still wasn't a serious thing to me. To my man Jazz, who was also from Marcy, he got a record deal with EMI, and they gave him some paper. It was like, he got 300,000. Like back then, this is like 88 or something. I'm like, for real?
He'd already co-founded his own label, Rockefeller Records, with Dame Dash and Kareem Biggs Burke, embodying the black-owned entrepreneurial spirit he preached. His 1998 album, Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, was a monster hit. That single, sampling the musical Annie, was a stroke of genius that took him from Brooklyn street corners to the top of the pop charts. He had mainstream appeal, but his brand was still anchored in his past, the gritty reality of the Marcy Projects. This duality was his superpower. He could rock a tailored suit but still speak the language of the streets. But with huge success comes huge pressure. In late 1999, he was getting ready to drop his fourth album, Volume 3, Life and Times of S. Carter.
Because I heard a little bit of it, but I didn't hear the whole thing. So like,
Right.
you know, the last album you were kind of angry, or there were some tracks where it sounded like you had something to prove.
Right.
What
It's even worse now. I mean, cause you gotta figure, like, you know, come from where I came from, you know, from Brooklyn and things like that. Then you sell 5 million records, people start to view you differently. You know what I mean? It's like, you sold 5 million records, you're not the same person anymore. You know, like, whereas a person will respect you on a level like, no, I'm not gonna do nothing to Jay because, you know, you're gonna take it all the way there. You know what I'm saying? You sell 5 million records, they might, you know, they think you're complacent, you're happy, you're much more laid back, but I'm still the same person.
This was a make or break moment. He had to prove Hard Knock Life wasn't a fluke and that he could stay on top without losing the authenticity his core fans demanded. And back then, the single biggest threat to an album's success was bootlegging. This was way before streaming, and the industry was at war with counterfeit CDs and illegal leaks that could kill an artist's first week sales. It was in this high-stakes climate that rumors started flying. The word was that Volume 3 had been leaked, and the person allegedly responsible was someone in Jay-Z's own world, record executive and producer Lance Rivera. Rivera was a major player himself, a business partner of the notorious B.I.G. and a well-known figure in the New York scene. For Jay-Z, an artist who built his empire on loyalty, the idea of being betrayed by an insider, of having his work devalued on the black market, was the ultimate disrespect. The stage was set for a showdown where Jay-Z's public image and his private code were about to violently collide.
So, Jay-Z is preparing for his next album, Life and Times of S. Carter, Volume 3. A month and a half before the album gets officially released, it gets leaked. Jay spoke about the situation in his book, Decoded. He said, when Volume 3 hit the streets more than a month before the official release date, I was totally at a loss. This was really too much. I was slipping out on Def Jam staff, accusing people of having something to do with the bootleg copies of the street. I just couldn't believe how flagrant it was and how much more damaging it could be than the usual low-level bootlegging. I want to know how my shit got out. People kept giving me the same name as the source of the bootlegging. It was someone I knew, someone I never would have suspected. And he's talking about you.
For 2 years, the case hung over Jay-Z's head. He kept making music, kept touring, kept building the Rockefeller empire, but the threat of a long prison sentence was always there. Then in late 2001, the story took a sharp left turn. Jay-Z walked into a Manhattan courtroom and pleaded guilty.
A top rap star is busted.
Jay-Z turned himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
Kimberly Richardson is at Midtown South right now. Kimberly.
Well, Rosanna, just a few hours ago, police here at Midtown South arrested Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z. The rap star voluntarily turned himself in here.
Now, it wasn't for the original felony charge. His lawyers had cut a deal. He pleaded guilty to a much lesser charge, third-degree assault, a misdemeanor. By doing that, he dodged a trial and crucially got no jail time. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation, which allowed him to keep his career moving. But the legal outcome is only half of it. The cultural impact of that guilty plea was massive. In the court of public opinion, pleading guilty meant one thing. He did it. By taking the charge, Jay-Z wasn't just closing a legal case. He was building his own legend. He basically leaned into the narrative. He became the rapper so fiercely protective of his empire that he'd resort to violence and then stand up and take the rap for it. In the hyper-masculine world of late 90s hip-hop, this wasn't seen as a weakness. It was seen as the ultimate sign of strength and authenticity. He wasn't just rapping about the street code, he was living it. The plea cemented his street cred in a way no album ever could. It added a layer of danger to his persona that was magnetic. He wasn't just a businessman, he was a gangster in a CEO's chair. He even seemed to embrace it. On the 2005 track Dear Summer, he rapped a line that was a clear shot at the incident. Niggas back up, they know I'm not no fronter, I don't talk shit, I just flip it on ya. The stabbing and the plea became a foundational myth. It was the ultimate proof that Jay-Z was the real deal. For 20 years, this was the truth. And then the victim spoke up and said it was all a lie.
I mean, I said it one time, you know, that I didn't get stabbed by Jay.
Before we get into the revelation that flips this whole story on his head, what do you think? Based on the original story, why would a superstar at the height of his fame risk it all? Was it about respect, business, or something else? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you're feeling this video so far, take a second to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what's coming next. More than 20 years after the incident, long after the probation ended and Jay-Z became a billionaire, Lance Rivera sat down for an interview with DJ Vlad. He was asked the one question he dodged for decades. Did Jay-Z actually stab you that night? Rivera just laughed and his answer was immediate. No, Jay-Z was not the guy that actually stabbed me that night. The statement was shocking. It went against the official story, Jay-Z's own guilty plea, and 2 decades of hip-hop history. Rivera then gave his version of what happened. He confirmed Jay was there and that they had a short, tense talk about the bootleg album right before things popped off. He remembers Jay-Z telling him, "You broke my heart." But what happened next, according to Rivera, wasn't the work of one man. He said he was surrounded by a group of people. He claimed there were as many as 10 knives in the chaos and that in the brawl he was hit with a bottle and stabbed once in the back of the shoulder. But the key detail, the one that changes everything, is that the person who stabbed him was not Sean Carter. Rivera's story paints a picture of a group assault where Jay-Z, as the leader of the crew, took the fall. Rivera even seemed confused about how Jay-Z became the only person charged. He told Vlad, if anyone knows Jay-Z, he's a nice guy. Violence has never been his history. He even went as far as to say that if Jay-Z had personally stabbed him, the outcome would have been very different, implying there would have been retaliation. If Jay-Z had stabbed me, Rivera said, y'all wouldn't have gotten the Black Album. This new testimony completely reframes the event. Suddenly, Jay-Z's guilty plea looks less like an admission and more like a chess move. So why plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit? The most obvious theory is he was protecting someone, a loyal member of his crew who did the stabbing. In the world Jay came from, loyalty is everything. Taking a charge for your people, especially when you have the money for the best lawyers to get a deal with no jail time, is the ultimate power move. It inspires devotion and sends a message that an attack on anyone in Rockefeller is an attack on the whole crew. Rivera's story suggests Jay-Z wasn't the hothead, he was the protector.
Me and Jay-Z had a conversation while, right before I got hit in the head with a champagne bottle. And it was a brief conversation and I was looking at him like, what are you talking about? And you fucking the money up right now. I don't know where people got Jay-Z stabbed me from, because if anybody knows Jay-Z, Jay-Z's a nice guy, right? He's an artist. He's a poet. He's gifted. And it's never been his history. If Jay-Z had stabbed me, y'all wouldn't have got the Black Album. Nas, and I don't know why didn't nobody believe him. On Ether, he said, talked about the incident, like he let people know, like, yo, your man stabbed on you, you took the blame for it, and unfortunately, he was caught up in a power struggle. It was all about the power to get rid of Dame Dash.
Just when it seemed like Rivera's story had rewritten history, another voice chimed in to make things even more complicated. Charlie Baltimore, a rapper signed to Rivera's label at the time, has a very different memory of that night. In her own interview, she insisted that right after the attack, Rivera told her repeatedly that Jay-Z was the one who stabbed him.
Right. I walk in as everyone's running out. So I see, you know, all of everybody in hip hop, literally, because it was that crowded, running out. I see Jay, I see Eve, I see all kinds of people, but they're like everybody's just, you know, in a panic. And I'm walking in and I'm not really knowing what's going on because I got there late. It was me and two of my girlfriends and we had been drinking. So we're like, you know, kind of like laxy-dazzle with it, like just walking through, like, what the hell's going on? I actually walked up and I was on the ground. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, you know, I'm stabbed. Jay stabbed me. So I'm like, what? And he's like, Jay-Z stabbed me. And I'm like, what are you saying? Like, I'm like, stop saying that, pretty much. Like, what are you saying? Like, I just didn't think he knew what he was saying. I didn't know if he was stabbed. And he's, you know, laying there and he kept saying it. So the police come and they take us all in for questioning.
Baltimore said she was confused by Rivera's new story 20 years later. I just know what he told me, she said, and he kept saying it. He just kept saying it over and over and over again. She wondered why. If Rivera knew Jay-Z was innocent, he would have let him take that rap for 2 decades. This leaves us with a classic he said, she said situation. Is Rivera telling the truth now, or was he telling the truth then? Was he so traumatized that he misidentified his attacker at the moment, or is there another reason his story changed? And then there's another piece of evidence that's been hiding in plain sight for years on one of the most famous diss tracks ever. On Nas's 2001 track Ether, he raps the line, "And your man stabbed and made you take the blame." For years, everyone blew it off as just a diss line. But with Rivera's new testimony, it suddenly sounds like Nas was reporting the facts. Rivera even pointed to the line himself, saying Nas told the truth and nobody believed him. So, why would Jay-Z plead guilty to a stabbing he may not have even committed? The answer shows you the genius of the hustler's paradox. By taking that plea, Jay-Z pulled off a masterful strategic play. First, on a practical level, he avoided a risky trial and a very real chance of a prison sentence that would have ended his career. It was a calculated move to take a lesser punishment to keep his freedom and his momentum. Second, whether he did it or not, taking responsibility sent a clear message of power. If he was protecting his crew, he showed a level of loyalty that money can't buy, solidifying his spot as a true leader. If he was innocent, he let the world think he was dangerous, which only boosted his mystique and street cred. He spun a potential career-ending scandal into a cornerstone of his brand. He was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. This whole incident is a perfect example of Jay-Z's entire career. It's about knowing the difference between Sean Carter, the man, and Jay-Z, the brand. The brand needed a story of unflinching toughness, of a man who came from the streets and never forgot the rules. The guilty plea fed that brand perfectly. It was a story so powerful it has shaped his public image for over 20 years. The fact that it might all be a lie doesn't really damage his legacy. In a weird way, it might even enhance it. It reframes him from a hothead who lost his cool into a cold, calculating strategist who turned a disaster into a win. He hustled the legal system, he hustled the media, and he hustled our perception. The real story might not be about the stabbing, but about the masterful way he controlled the story afterward. It leaves us with one last question about fame and image. What's more important, the literal truth of what happened on one chaotic night in 1999, or the powerful myth that was built from it? So let me ask you, was Jay-Z protecting his crew, or did the victim change his story for other reasons? And does this new information change how you see Jay-Z's legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want more videos like this, and make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. Thanks for watching.